The British Army Training Support Unit Belize, BATSUB, has been doing military training in Belize for decades. In recent years, BATSUB trains 2,500 soldiers a year. They do this in groups of 150 up to about 400 at a time.
When they move out to their jungle locations, because of the nature of the jungle and the nature of jungle warfare, they are not traversing over great distances and they can't use vehicles, so it's minimal impact in terms of footprint. So they tend to stay in one or two small spaces and they're not roaming around the areas. The type of training that we do is a mixture of navigation. We do some what we call dry training, which is not using live ammunition. It's just simulated bangs, which is much reduced. We do some live fire, but that is a very small percentage of what we do over here. And when we do that, we go to the utmost to ensure that even things such as trees, we would use preventative measures such as sandbags or using dead fallen logs in front of the trees.
But research in other parts of the world show that military trainings can alter the environment. So do these jungle trainings interfere with Belize's natural environment? In 2017, BATSUB and the Belize Defense Infrastructure Organization completed an environmental impact assessment to find out if the military trainings affect the ecology of their training sites in Belize. They now have a 3-year monitoring program with Panthera Belize.
An environmental compliance requirement from DOE is to have a monitoring strategy in place to undertake systemic recording of wildlife in and around our live firing ranges. DIO BATSUB have contracted with Panthera to deliver a 3-year monitoring program to assess the effects of military training and specifically live firing on the mammalian species here in Belize.
Lieutenant Colonel Simon Nicholas says that the first year of research shows that the military's footprint on the environment is minimal. He notes that there is very little long-term impact of the military's live firings on animals, particularly jaguars, in the jungles where they train.
There was little variation between military training locations and controlled sites for detection rates, activity patterns, species assemblies, or jaguar home range patterns. The research has shown that in 1963 Line and Mountain Pine Ridge Forest Reserves, they're both functioning well as wildlife reserves, with high species richness and abundance. From the initial comparisons, it appears that in a long-term capacity, historic use of these sites by the military for live firing has had a negligible effect and impact on the species, ecology, and behaviour within these sites. This research is delivered in partnership with Panthera and is enabling BATSUB to refine its approach and management to military training within the jungle training areas.
These training areas, for example, in the Coxcomb Basin Range, are also the home to a number of animals, including wildcats, and so these are monitored by Panthera Belize. The N.G.O. promotes the conservation of wildcats, particularly jaguars. Across the world and even Belize, jaguar populations are in decline. So to support the management and research of this animal, Panthera Belize installs activated camera traps to monitor the health of jaguars. But these cameras are often removed by those engaged in illicit activities or they're destroyed by other elements. So as a part of its commitment to the environment and its partnership with Panthera Belize, BATSUB handed over 20 new motion cameras and 4 data storage devices to be used to monitor wildlife in some of the training areas that the British Army uses in Belize. Emma Sanchez of Panthera Belize explains how valuable these cameras are to the conservation of wildcats like jaguars in Belize.
They can be put in the field and they are motion triggered. Therefore, anything that passes in front of it, any movement, is detected by the camera. So in terms of the fauna, these cameras have settings in there that to record the date and time, and of course the location of where the camera is placed at. When we get the images, we're able to do a series of analysis, which include checking the activity of each of the species, given that they have enough, that we have enough sample to do that. We check the detection rates, which is used sort of a proxy measure to abundance, which is the number of animals within an area. And for the larger cats or the large cats that are spotted, since they are individually recognized, we can do density estimates, which is used in terms for management of an area. If you have a high density of the large cats, meaning there is also, that would translate also that the habitat is good enough for it, and the habitat also has enough prey for it to have that higher density.
The value of the donation is over $5,000 Belize dollars. Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.